Hello there. Welcome. Name is Shirrie Jackson. Well, today I'm coming home from worship. I'm video I posted this YouTube off my phone here already. So you may see it done 1,700 views. It's climbing. It done very well and better than I expected with other traffic. Well, apparently two cars down at King going right on King Street at Houston downtown Havre, right next to that condominium complex where former Kresge store used to be. I guess, yeah. No, what happened was, well, you know, two car, one car just by looking at it, and the black one it totaled. No ifs and buts, it totaled because two reasons why. Give you two reasons why the car totaled. One, the door were hit impact airbag going off and seeing the door on the bottom being seeing that door at the bottom of the vehicle, having a thing where you know while seeing the door at the bottom of a car where it is and dragging, and I can see imperfection. Trunk, I know it pulled the hair, right? Instead of being sitting tight together, like a little bit like that. Just enough. Just enough to know that the frame bent. And I've seen that. I wonder the frame is bent in the vehicle, and it is bad and not easy. But at least, a person didn't get hurt in that car. The other car was totally crushed in the front. Both cars are total write-off by insurance company. Guaranteed they'll probably end up on, somebody else. They might rest assured both cars will probably be write-off. They end up IAA auction somewhere, end up a state IAA, and maybe somebody might bid on it, like, who I'm thinking of. Randy at Auto Auction Rebuild might bid on it or might not. Somebody might bid on it easy. Anyway, no matter how you look at it, it's a write-off. And that's what happened here. So, while, go to say new vehicles, did they get an accident like that? Well, was it metal to make them out of? With recycled aluminum with the frames. I made a third grade, a second, not real, not out of our steel. They made from steel that is third grade, probably imported from England or Europe, something more. Probably imported from places, probably Chinese steel or die cast metals to use, make more lightweight. And on top of that, when a car like that gets in an accident, well, you know what that means? You buy a new car. The car's done for. Well, I can go back in time to 1960s. Back then, when they built cars, a lot of them built out of steel. And if you get an accident in one of these cars, a side impact, you get a dent door, and it's easy just to replace the door. Fine. Now you get the same car, same type of accident. The door's not replaced, the car not replaced. It can't be fixed. Simple. Because new cars today are not built like the older vehicles from the 60s and early 70s. The old cars were built like tanks, and they last, and they're proven over and over and over again. So there is one thing I can really say. I hope these people hope they're okay in this accident. It's pretty bad. Well, the photo I have uploaded this accident footage I took today to CHC TV News. So, it might be on might made it to the news tonight. So I'm gonna check 11 o'clock news tonight and see or not my footage made it to on TV. I took footage like that before. I took a footage a while back of Franco nail frills. Somebody got on roof, stole piping off the refrigeration unit, and caused millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of lost revenue to no frill grocery store across the street and had all the product ball, no everything else. Well, It cost millions of dollars. Matter of fact, they had to replace all that pipe, and it's horrible for replacing pipe because some idiot and guy decided to creek. Well, they did in two other places, not on there. It went over to did it down at another place down there where they have these down at the local vegetable and store, and they did the same thing, cards and all the vegetable ones. They had to throw it out. And you know what else they did? They also got on the roof at Mission Service at 3 o'clock in the morning, cut lines, and all the food bank fall because all frozen stuff fall all because of that. Cost the mission hundreds of dollars, cost me about $105. But the biggest problem they did is they ended up on the roof of a student center trying to do that. Unfortunately, the Bray campus police, Bray campus Mac 50 caught them red-handed. They were cuffed, stuffed, taken into custody. Hamilton police found out they did all these other burglaries of copper. And you know what happened next? Well, they had the day in court, and guess what? Well, they didn't win. They got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of this to think about it. Yeah, they got lots and lots and lots of this to think about it. Anyway, so, lots of time to think about in jail, basically. Anyway, so, crime don't pay, matter how you look at it, Crime don't pay. It costs people money, matter how you look at it. And not only that, but sometimes, I see it all, but also, too, homeless people in this city are getting so desperate in a way to get off the street to do anything. The homeless guy that pulled a knife on an innocent pedestrian and stabbed the pedestrian survived, unfortunately, but guess what? The homeless guy got arrested. He took off running. They got him. They cuffed him, put in a car. The guy went to jail, gave him 10 years gave him up to 20 years for attempted murder. Huh, get it? See? 20 year pen. At least you're going to get free meal today now for 20 years. Yep. And he probably get beaten up by inmates in a pen who gonna because of that. And then when he leaves, and then when if he makes it out of there alive, he'd be lucky to make it out alive. Make it alive is a miracle. So, and then there's used to be Umbrella, that's a TV show Umbrella where detective crime drama on TV, and the song goes, if you can't afford the time, don't do the crime. Well, it's saying rule goes simple. If you can't afford the time in jail and losing your job, don't do the crime. Because crime don't pay. Crime will earn you a one-way ticket to jail and criminal record rest of your life. And who want that? Nobody. Well, you get your photo taken free of charge by the cop, but that's about it. I tell you what you get when somebody gets caught. I'm going to tell you one thing. Person get caught shoplifting. You know what I'm talking about? When the person gets caught shoplifting, they're going to get the cuffs put. They're going to be arrested. The item going to probably end up being the person will be taken away, probably down to the police station, and this is what a shoplifter get free before they go to court. You get a photograph taken, unwanted nude, unwanted publicity on a local TV news, maybe, unwanted news photo on the front page of the local newspaper, other unwanted publicity. Top of that, you'll be carted off to court in the morning after having a rotten sandwich down there, after having a sandwich that tasted like crap. You'll be brought up there, and you'll be brought into holding cell. Do you have more rotten sandwiches? And then, What happens after a rotten sandwich? You want to know? Then the judge looks at you and says, well, you've done this before. I can give you 6 months to think about it. And the judge better take the guy to the downstairs, back door, and he get taken over. Then he end up in jail. And he get more unwanted publicity on top of that. And boom. See? And they're doing 6 months for something. Then you see, crime is not worth the time, in jail. See? So simple. That's what you get if you steal something from a store, or not a slap on the wrist. Homeless people, they fall victim to a lot of different types of crime, from bad drugs that will put them in a 6 feet under in a grave. Well, not only bad street drugs, fentanyl, another one. Take a couple of that, it would be a hot pill. They'd be going down, they'd be going to sleep like this. Not wake up. Yep. Things like that. So think about it. And on top of this, what contribute to a lot of the homeless people on Hamilton Street? Two things contribute to it. Landlord, super high rent, well over 9,000, 1,500, 2,400. Condos that can range up to a full home price of $1,200,000 condos that people can afford. And on top of that, you got apartments that run up to well over $1 million a month too in Hamilton. All these apartments, now Doug Ford, we want to build new homes. But no, they build new homes. But who is the new homes? You know what they are? You want to really know, I can tell you right now if you want to. Well, the new homes are being built. But they ain't for homeless people. Well, what are they for? These kind of people, homeless, not for homeless people on the street, people with big pocket, deep pocket, carrying with a big safe of thousands of dollars in bills, $9,000 a month, 90 million billionaires who go out to buy these condos, to buy these places, rent these places on purpose. And what happened? Well, Mr. Jojo, who's out on a Mr. X, the homeless expert, out on X-Man out on the street, panhandling for daily bread, and stuck out there again, year after year. And the only thing they can welcome when they're on the street, only thing they will welcome is freezing to death, because that's the only way to get off the street, but at least in heaven. So that homeless is not a life, another thing to live on a street. It's horrible, and it will kill you. People live on the street die prematurely. They die. The greater risk, people who live in houses or live in nice warm apartments, while they tend to live and go on with their life. People out on the street, well, they tend to get cold. They're going to get health unfit, get health trouble. They toughen up a bit, get tough enough to survive winter. But unfortunately, it's like it's a game. You can't get off it. And the only way you get off that, only way to see off the street is getting arrested, going to jail. Just to get off the street, had a warm bed to sleep in. Things simple. But some people stay in tents all winter long. How they survive those tents, I don't know. It has to be very hard people do it. I don't know how to even do that, but still, I look at that, and I think every time I go to church in the morning, I'm walking past them in Jackson Square. I can smell the body odor a mile away. It's smelling like urine, smelling like piss, smelling horrible. I can't even stand the odor. Sometimes I got to plug my nose to that smelling of people. Oh, anyway, so what I'm saying is two things. Well, see that condos are dug for rich buddies. See, all these buildings be built, dug for buildings for wealthy, rich buddies of his. that work getting paychecks from working in the government in Toronto. Guess what? Governor Till. While he's rich, but he's getting richer, the poor getting poorer. Huh, figure that out. Does that make sense? No. What happened in the United States of America? Can you guess? I know what happened. You got big Social Security, but old age pensioners don't get a lot on Social Security in the States. Like the Canadians get more, but I get more in my old age. It's you have to pay for that. Pay for that. If you got a service or you provincial service, you end up costing money. Where when you're an older fee, it doesn't cost you. It doesn't cost you. But unfortunately, it's like these awful landlords. And when people do get a place to live, it's infested with drug dealers and rats. The lady who got part of King, it was so infested with rats. I walked in there, and all I could see is rats and a rat poop, rat. And I literally just, I heard stoves started, not electric stove, started to scream out with the alarm started going. For a road, I had to pull it out, unplug it from back, and you know what? And the rats, there were rat droppings in there. And I took a big sock back and I put it on the wrist where it was on the back. And you know what I did? I all heard a rat boom, boom, boom going in the vacuum cleaner. Crazy. I did what something I trained to. Took a sock back and ran it and sucked rats up like in the sock back like crazy. Huh. Yeah, same Kenmore vacuum cleaner that they had in that see on a trend on YouTube. The trend home up with YouTube. Well, yeah. Then there's some skewing on the floor. I sucked that up, sucked up all the rat droppings, everything up on the floor I could. And then I literally called and I said to then I notified the building owner of the situation. He just laughed at me, go, they think, whoa, I don't know how Bible. It does. Well, anyways, and right across the hall, guess what? There were people dealing drugs right in the hallway, right across the hall from this person there, another apartment building, So I came home. I called Crime Shop. I've been dealing drugs. Well, 2 days later, the Crime Shopper, detectives, not only that, the Crime Shopper, the drug enforcement people went in, did a raid, found all the crack cocaine, the crack pipes, and everything there. I know they did. They rounded them up. And one of the investigators got bit by a rat. But a couple of the investigators got bit by a rat, and then they complained, and it had to be get needled. Had to go get tetanus shot afterwards from being bit by rats in that apartment in there. Apartment rats were just everywhere, rat dropping. Even I heard this that Hammer Police got bit by a rat investigating drugs and putting the drug dealers behind bars while got arrested. Boom. Well, that's pretty bad rat infestation. I said, rest assured, and some lights only work in buildings. The rat's been eating the wires. And I mean, stuff like that in the wall right now. I could hear no walls when I came over to see one person apartment I knew, but unfortunately, now, when I told the city about, I called the ESA up on that building, and they have electrical safety authority come in there. I know they did. They actually told the owner, you need new wiring to do all this work immediately, or we cutting you off. And guess what? The owner didn't bother. Guess what happened now? The hydro's off in the building and the people are on his homeless. Guess what happened to those people? Homeless. All because of a very bad land. See, that's another thing. Homeless people, how you can get the worst thing going. The worstest place they can get. Wow, that bad too. That's not right. People getting bad places. Now that is horrible to me, and it's not nice, And the only ones that really get off it, smart ones, will try to get off any way possible. they will turn around, right, go to housing. They keep on housing every day. And some of them do get into out of tents and into an apartment gracefully. I know another lady got a rooming house. The tenant, that rooming house so bad, they pounded the crap right out of her. And they beat her up and cut her hair in the rooming house without, her consent and raped her. Another lady lives in the rooming house too, got off our tenant. Still being raped by tenants at rooming house. So where's the law in rape? There's no law. They seem to be, yes, there's law there, but why ain't it being enforced? Think about it. There's, things are that bad, and that homeless people have to commit a murder for to get a warm bed to sleep in. That's odd. That ain't not right. Anyways, it's bad. And why? Why this happening? Because of money. And that's something. I went to a social justice retreat many years back before I retired as an activist, and you go activist retreats many years ago. So we used to go, and one of the things we found in all this is greed, power, money, control. You know what? Money talk, sit, walk. You got greed, then you got power up here, and then you got, and what you got down here, then you got poor people down at the bottom. Then asking rich guys to bring down the money, bring it down. No, you can't have it. If I go up, get more. Oh, they go further, and they're sitting behind these poor people here. Poor people back here, rich people working up like this, and then the poor people try and get up there, and then they try to get, they stuck down there, trying to come up, and they can't. So they come up, the rich people, back down you go. Come back up, back down. Come back up, back down. Every time I try to move ahead, every time. And what happens? It goes on. And after a while, first, why does it bother? And the only thing I got, and eventually they started crying. And eventually they said, that's it. I need off the street. I can't get off that way. I get put down by wits every damn time, shoved back on the railroad. And I'm struggling. I can't get off the street. What am I going to do? Well, I can do this. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to I'm going to find somebody that's not homeless, and I'm going to stab them, or I'm going to shoot them dead. If I get arrested by the police, then I got bed for 6 years. Boom. To do that. Next thing you know, in jail, and they won't come back. They hooray, you got me, and I'm in jail. And they go to court, and blah, blah. Then they sit in the pen for a few years. Then they get out of the pen. And then they right back to square one again. So do it again. They get longer time pen just because they need it. And that's why they got the only thing to do. And that's the only way to get off the street. Another way, fake a mental illness. I can tell you one thing, fake a mental illness. That get you off the street pretty quick. It get you to mental hospital, won't be in very long, about a couple of weeks out again, see? But, well, it's not really, that at all. It's just awful. People do that. It's horrible. And today, the traffic accident is one thing. Seeing people homeless out on Hamilton Street is another. Why? And that's it. They struggle, they can't get ahead, and they're getting put down. See what I mean? They steer them trying to struggling. Oh, and they come in, boom, pushing down. Boom, pushing down. Doug Ford, Rich Buddy come, and they're struggling again. See? That happening constantly. What's going to happen is these homeless people are going to be pushed to two things could happen in the future, and both things are going to not be very pleasing among everybody. Option number one, this going on constantly. Number two, homeless people going to get fed up with it now. They get fed up. Every homeless person in Canada will get fed up with it, and they're going to turn around, sit in lobbies of these rich condo and refuse to leave, the security guard will call the cops. The cops will come. And then they turn around and they start beating up security, beating cops. Then they start making Molotov cocktails thrown on the street. Then all the homeless people get together, everyone. They start grabbing all together and they start yelling and screaming. We had enough of this. We had enough. And they start pushing cops, burning cars, beating cops. And then next thing, then you got a riot. Then what will happen? You have a riot on. You got a big riot. And you have a, next thing you know, have a Canada riot with the military, I call it. The military come in and start, and then once they got it all under control, then they can investigate it. Then they're going to find out what caused the riot. The rich people driving the poor people down, driving poor people on the street. And once they found that out, my God, who, then all of a sudden these homeless people that were there, all of a sudden they'd be up here, while rich people we put down here, and they were getting on, and they'd be doing this rich people. Boom, again, see? So, guess what? That horrible fact, or that this happened in Detroit, Michigan. And a song was written called Black Day in July, based on this, Detroit riots. What happened there is rich people driving poor people on the street constantly in Detroit, constantly. They got fed up. They riot. When they riot in Detroit, that changed a lot. And this happened in Los Angeles, where poor people, black people, been driven down constantly. And as a result, there were riots in LA that literally destroyed the city, set LA burning. There were Chicago riot called by Al Capone. We were people driven down by gangsters like Al Capone, driving. And finally, they riot. It's enough. And they literally started a Chicago riot that hundreds of cops lost their lives. Other people got killed. And on top of this, all the hoodlums within the Chicago literally, an end of it, the city ended up, having, by that point, Al Capone arrested, but the city ended up recovering from it, but it was the most awful thing that happened. You look at, and there was a Tiger Cat won the Grey Cup in Hamilton, and there was a huge riot shortly after that in Hamilton. Broke out. One broke out broke out when people started celebrating, got too drunk, and they started beating and caused a riot that the police had a hard time breaking up. The police did get under control, but that was before he moved to Hamilton happened. But here's what's going to happen. I said, all I see is where things are going right now, what I've been seeing on the streets in Hamilton. I see a riot coming here in Hamilton in the future. I know what, for the honesty, I'm not even going to get involved. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to stay home until it's aside and let the military and cops do their job. You know that? I see a riot coming, and it won't be very pleasant one at all. And it will be driven by the homeless on the street will start it. I see that coming in the future. It could happen in 5 years. It could happen in, could happen tomorrow. Could happen any time now. Could happen in 5 years. Could happen soon. But I know some people may think I'm crazy to say this. I predict there's going to be a riot in the future on Hamilton Street. And I don't, in this, on Canada alone. Where every homeless person will eventually riot over being pushed down all the time, and suppressed, and given moldy sandwiches all the time, rotten food. Anyways, enough said about that. I'm going to say blog over.